everyone. Welcome back to another edition of What's Happening Now with CNI Solutions. As always, remember to like, share, and comment on this broadcast live, as there could be some information not only useful to yourself, but perhaps to a neighbor or a friend like that. Tonight's broadcast is being brought to us by Hello Guest Screen. Here at Hello Guest Screen offers an easy way to personalize your Airbnb's properties, TV screens with custom images and dynamic calendar-driven guest information with all essential information for them upon arrival. Hello Guest Screen also works greatly with anyone who has a doctor's office or just a waiting room area where you want to put the information out of what it is that your particular business does and what's happening. Also, don't forget, we still got coming up here in May, we got our 7-in-7 community baby shower. We are still accepting donations for this. This is going to be a community baby shower for anyone who is 7 months pregnant or 7 months postpartum. We're going to have food. We're going to have OBGYN there. We're going to have medical staff there to give out any type of blood pressure. We're going to have guest speakers there. So for those who are in the area, if you're here in the Huntsville area and you are looking for a baby shower and you just don't know where you're going to do it or how you're going to get to it, please make sure you sign up with CNI Solutions 7-in-7 community baby shower. We will be doing it all, and we're making sure that we're going to make sure we give your newborn baby the baby essentials that they need. Also, the Renew Ready Launch an Entrepreneurial course has started in conjunction with Drake State Technical College. We got that already started. Miss Brittany Fry is facilitating that class. It started on Monday. We got a great group of people. I do believe there's still a few slots left. So if you had not had a chance to sign up, please go ahead and sign up for that. If you go to Drake State's website, you will see the Renew Ready program. Or if not, you can reach out to CNI Solutions and we will work with you to get you registered and signed up. There are a few seats left. There's just a few seats left. So please don't wait on this one. This is your opportunity. If you was looking to start your business and you didn't know where to go to and you're looking for that training, this is the time to go ahead and get registered for that while you can get in on this scholarship brought to you by Drake State. So tonight in the studio, ladies and gentlemen, we got a very, very special guest, very dynamic person, a duo, if you will, a team. We got Mr. and Mrs. James Carter, the owners of Launch It Studios. James, Jessica, how y'all doing? Welcome.
Doing
great.
well.
How are you?
Good. So without further ado, tell us a little bit, James, how did you come up with this? How did you get started with this?
Oh man, it's an immaculate story for me, but I want to make sure I don't, take all the time up. But man, it started when I had to be between 8 and 10 years old. My aunt got cancer, and we are a tight-knit family, have always been a tight-knit family. And my aunt got cancer, and we were going to this church. It was a family church, back in the woods. I'm from a country place, but I love my roots. Don't get me wrong when I say that. I love my roots. I love a lot of stuff that, I learned from that. But we were, in the church, and, where the kids lay on the bench and they go to sleep. And my auntie, the doctors told my family that, she was in cancer and there was nothing that they could do for her. She said she remembered praying and she asked God, if you save me, I'll serve you for real, and I'll make sure that I'll be. Because she didn't want to leave, obviously, and God saved her. And you wouldn't believe it now, she's an immaculate singer. But God saved her. She got into a Pentecostal church, and she kept begging my mama to come to this church that she was at now. And one day she pulls up. We were getting out of the car to go into the house, and she stopped my mom and said, "No, get back in the car, because you told me that you're going to come with me." So we all got back in the car, and we're pulling up. And I remember like it was yesterday, because it's how I am, who I am now, We were pulling up and they were having a revival. I don't know if anybody knows anything about Pentecostal, church. That church, it's amazing on that particular, setting. We pull up and they were having a revival at somebody's house. So it was cars all up and down the streets, and you can hear the music for, all the way down the road. And I got out of the car. I was like, "This is not church. This sounds like a party. Like these guys are having fun." We get out and we're walking up. My mom still has scrubs on. We're walking up the street and they're just having, you can hear it. As we get closer, it's getting louder and louder. And we walk up. I remember we get up to the where they were having church at, and I remember seeing the drums and the piano, and I was infatuated. I was just lost with that. So I remember I grabbed my mom's the scrub she had on. I said, Mom, I'm going to do that. And I remember pointing at the guy that was playing the drums. His name was Tay at the time. I said, I'm going to do that. She was like, okay, son, okay. I said, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm going to do that. And we joined the church, to make a long story short. We joined the church, and at the church, they only had this big drum, the big bass drum. And that's how I got a lot of my rudiments. It was just and I was playing this thing, and it was like a line of us. There had to be, 10 kids, about my age. And you had to learn how to play it. And we all wanted to play. So we'll be sitting on the row, waiting our turn. We're just sliding down the row. And every song they sang, we played, and I learned. I loved it. We fast forward. From that, we moved 45 minutes away to another church where my that's where I met my lovely wife here. We get down there, and I was playing the drums, and the pastor, he was playing the piano, and he was just kind of doing what he can do, and I'm playing. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, he's got to preach and do all these things. And it wasn't he was a bad piano player, but he wasn't, he was just just figuring it out, if you will. And I remember I took another guy who had moved to the church. He came over, and I started teaching him how to play the drums. I was like, okay, I can teach him how to play the drums, and I can figure out how to play the piano. So I started just kind of tinkering with it all night. My Uncle BB, God rest his soul, he ended up giving me a piano. And I took the piano that he gave me, and I'll be up all night just trying to figure it out. We had 2 services on. First and third Sunday. I won't talk about that, but we had 2 Sundays, 2 services this Sunday. And between services, my pastor, I remember this like it was yesterday too, because all this stuff is really my foundation, which is how I am who I am now. He was looking at me, and he said, I didn't know you played the piano. I was just kind of tinkling on the piano. He said, I told him, I don't play, sir. He was like, okay. And he just kind of, I remember he said that, and he just kind of looked around, and so 5 minutes before church, he looked over at me. He said, hey, you're going to play tonight. And I was like, wait, what? I said, hold on, sir. He wouldn't look at me. He's just looking straight forward. Sir, I was trying to get his attention, and they walked up to do devotion, and they started singing. I had to figure it out. The other guy started playing the drums, so I just got to do what I got to do, and I was just tinkering. I felt like I did horrible. But my mom and my family and everybody else was saying, no, you did immaculate. Like, wow, we were blown away. And I was thinking to myself, no, that was terrible. So I get to the house, and I tell myself, I don't want to feel like that again. So I prayed and I asked God to really teach me this, to show it to me. And he started bringing back my memory, because I used to play drums behind a lot of, amazing musicians. So he brought back my memory, and I was just in my room playing, and I just, I grew from that through being in church and just figuring out chords and all of that stuff. It was just amazing. And that's pretty much the roots of how I got into, music, how I got into that particular part of music. And since then, it's been a road,
So you literally just self-taught yourself on how to play a piano, not learning how to read a note, anything. You just did everything by ear and feeling.
Yep, exactly. I feel like God brought back to my memory all of that stuff. And I give all praise to him. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not saying, well, I'll say this. You have to have a passion for what you're doing. And I think God put the passion in my heart for that, because I would be in there for hours and hours and hours. Exactly. And hours. But I didn't see time. Time wasn't a thing. Like, you kind of get encapsulated in, what you like I talked about before with Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. You can talk about those guys and go look into their documentaries. And they talk about how those guys would be on the court all day, all night, practicing before practice, after practice. Like, they did it all the time, but it wasn't a thing that, that they would say that, it hurt them or harmed them when it comes to their time, because they were just passionate about what they did. You have to have a calling for what you're doing.
Right. So, so you met the wife at church. Yeah. How did we get from church to where we're at right now? How did that happen?
Oh man, that's a good story too. Military, you know what I mean? Because after I left the house, I joined the military. My wife and I joined the military. Here I am in the military.
I joined first.
She loves to say,
follow me to the military.
No, okay. She was in college, and she happened to, because she's a little bit older than me, so she takes off to college, and I tell her what I'm going. Well, I'm going to. I said no.
I was already in college to go. I was on ROTC.
She was on ROTC, but yeah, she went first because you were out of school before me.
Yeah.
But here I am. I catch up. Yeah, I know we're in the military, and I'm in Iraq. This is my second time in Iraq. We had to do 15 months in Iraq, and while I was over, I was a mechanic. So while I was over there, I remember I tried to get to the chapel to play, just to kind of, because all the stuff we had going on. And I was playing, and I came back, and this guy I was talking to, he said, hey, one of the guys in my unit, he was like, man, I'm building a studio. He said, I need a beat made. We started talking about, because he knew I played piano. So he said, I need a beat made. Can you make beats? I said, well, I kind of tinker with it. I can figure it out. I got a program, did it real quick, brought it back to him. He's like, man, how did you do this so fast? And it's really good. I said, I know music. That's my thing, So he said, I said, what are you going to do with it? Who are you? He said, I'm an engineer. I said, what is that? I'm thinking, engineer. I'm thinking about, people that build houses and all that stuff. He said, no, man, I'm an audio engineer. I said, I don't know what that means. So he said, well, come over to my room tonight, and I'll show you. He had built the booth inside of his room, and he had these guys coming over, and they was going to record to the beat that I had gave him. So I get over there tonight. We go, and his wife had sent him this board too that he had from home. So I go into the room and they get in and they start recording and it sounded good. So I was like, oh man, that's good. So I'm leaving with the guys. He said, where you going? I said, I'm going to take off. He said, no, that's not it. Like, there's more to this. I'm like, oh, okay. So I sit down. Then he begins to show me the intricate parts of what he does as far as, EQ and compression, how you put all that stuff together. And it blew my mind. So he tells me, he said, well, if you'll show me what you know as far as how you're making those beats and, chords and progressions and all that stuff, I'll take the time to show you how I do what I do. So for like 9 months, we swapped knowledge. And when I got back, I was just, man, I was floored with that side of things. Because now all the stuff that I did, playing drums, playing the trombone, playing, guitar a little bit, play all these instruments, and then singing. I sing a little bit as well. Doing all these things, I can take this particular gift and put all that stuff together and be able to do it, put it all together as one unit, if you will. It blew my mind. So when I got back, my wife had purchased me a board, that same mixing board that we had when I was in Iraq for Father's Day that year. And I just took off, since then. I got out of the military, went to college, went to Nashville, interned there for about a couple of years with my mentor. I was in all things country, loved it, had a lot of fun. We did commercials, we did movies, we did all of that stuff. Had fun. Came back here, finished up at college at the university here at Athens State, and I took over the program at Calhoun, which is the community college in the area. Took over the program there, ran that program while I was doing that. I built the minor at Athens State, so the recording minor they have, I built that. Got out of that because while I was doing it, I was going to all the high schools, I had to recruit for that program, and I was building the studio at the house. But it was kind of like a conflict of interest. I couldn't do both. So we had to figure out, how we're going to do this. And, I walked away from one thing and built my studio. And now I have the platform to where I'm at the house. And God has blessed me to be able to do what I do. I mentor, I teach, I record, I go out, I do live sound. I do, all things music, all things sound. I do it. But that was the background, which was a heavy background that God called me, I believe, to do this. And man, I've been having fun. It's been a great life. But I'll say this too, real quick, that I was unbalanced, and my wife had to teach me balance because I would be like I said, I would be in there all the time. I would be in there all the time.
But so I was going to ask them, like, Jessica, where do you come into play into this? Because it sounds like he's engulfed into his music, he's engulfed into his passion. Where do you come into Launch It Studios? What role do you play with this?
Well, for Launch Studios, I'm more on the administrative or the silent partner side of things. I'm his confidant, encouraging him. But it took a while for me to get to that point, though, because like you said, there was a lot of like unbalancedness that was going on. It was like you would spend hours and 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 hours like just there. I remember before we even built the studio in the backyard, we turned one of the bedrooms we had into a studio, and you were recording in the room, and I would wake up in the middle of the night and walking around the house like, where is this man? And he would be in that room watching YouTube videos, immersing himself into all things with learning and things like that. And so I was like, okay, I get this is what you love, but we got to figure out a way to balance. You need rest. We need to be able to spend time together. You need food. You need all of these things. And so I believe that God knew that he needed me in his life for this time to make sure that he was balanced in doing all of that. And so once we got balanced in that and, in our marriage, I became the partner in the studio, in the business, the studio business. And like I said, in that, I let him run the day-to-day operations. I'm what we call the bulldog. When you need the bulldog to come in to get some things straight. So that's really where I come in with Launch Studios. Otherwise, you really don't see me. I may come out and bring free cookies or a few sandwiches and fried chicken. You never know what you'll get when you come to the studio. I might drop off some food, just to make sure everything's going okay.
Yeah. So do y'all work with people, say like with Brittany? Brittany used to be a pianist at one time, in her life. For someone who might have lost that technique, are you able to work with somebody like her to bring it all back? And is it muscle memory? I mean, Brittany, could you if we bought a baby grand in here tonight, would you be able to just throw down on it?
Absolutely not. Like I had explained to Mr. James prior to this, I did 4 to 5 years of it. But when you have that brief pause or that break where a lot of people say when you don't use it, you lose it. I definitely have lost it.
But and to answer your question too, that I had a class where I was teaching, guys how to play piano, and I did that a lot. And I have a friend here in the area, Mario Maitland. He does that, and he does it well, And I do all things recording because just really my area. And I can play and I can teach as well. And I do still teach if I can. But I really just kind of push people his way because that's his thing. That's what he does. It's in his area, of expertise. If you never met him before, guys, please go down there and talk to him. He's an amazing pianist, and that's exactly what he does. But no, I do more recording, more audio as far as commercials, people's, all of that stuff. Teaching, and I teach the production side of things. So all of that is pretty much.
So in hindsight, what Mr. James is saying is, when I'm ready to drop this track, I know where to come to.
There you go.
Right.
But you have to practice first, though.
I'm not.
We don't want you to waste money on
studio.
We don't want to waste money on studio time.
Wait, Miss Jessica, see now, because you're taking it there. I didn't say I was going to play the piano. I said when I'm ready to drop this track.
Oh, so you can sing too.
We're not going to talk about that, but
we're
learning some things that we didn't learn earlier. Okay.
All right. So let me ask you, in the studio, what type of genres do you usually find coming through? Is it hip hop, R&B, country? What do you usually have that's coming through your studios?
Okay, in this area, it's more so hip hop, R&B, gospel. We got a lot of gospel, a lot of a lot of hip hop guys, but a lot of R&B and a lot of gospel. If I was in Nashville, it was country, it was
bluegrass,
jazz, and bluegrass. We also have bluegrass coming in this area as well. But I work with all genres. Any, and I had one guy.
We had a rock artist at one time.
We did have a rock artist come in. It was fun. We had a great time with them.
It was interesting.
Yep, exactly. And we had one guy come in, and he was like eclectic, and he asked me what genres was this, and I said, man, I have no idea. And it really was, it was when you're starting new things, it's hard to figure out where it fits at, which means that the engineer, if you're really good at what you do, you got to make sure that you don't think of the music, you think more of the sonic signature of it to make sure that it's professionally ready. So I had my mentor, my intern with me, and he came in and he was like, Mr. James, you are amazing, because I wouldn't have known how to do everything he needed. I said, man, I just had to go into my my bag and figure out, just use all of my, my professional side of things. Not saying that what he was doing was wrong or bad, the guy that was doing the music. I just had to know how to make sure that, because I didn't have any reference. If I have guys coming in that do jazz or they do R&B or they do hip hop, I got reference. I can go and just listen to Jay-Z if they sound close to Jay-Z. I can go and listen to Lil Wayne, and just reference it real quick, get all my EQ stacks and get everything set. But when it's something that's brand new, a genre is brand new, you got to really know what you're doing. I taught my intern in that day. He's doing a lot of things. Like, he's down in Atlanta doing well. But no, to your point, to your question, there's a lot of genres in this area, but some of the main ones are, like you said, hip hop, R&B, and gospel. It's a lot of that in this area.
So, you mentioned something and you triggered something with me. I'm gonna give you a two-part question. I want to know. I'm not a music connoisseur. Okay, I'm not a music connoisseur, but I like to stay, in tune to what's happening nowadays with music. So in my journeys of my TikTok algorithm, I live, there's two things I came across. One, they were saying that rap is not hip hop, and I want you to capitalize on that. And the second one, which is brand new to all of us, they're saying that Beyonce's new song is not country. Oh, can you speak on those, please?
Okay, yeah. Let me. I'll address the first one first. Yeah, I'll let her take the Beyonce situation.
Come get you.
I know, right? Exactly. So no, but with the rap and the hip hop situation. So hip hop, obviously, we know that was like the beginning of everything, and it was like the foundation, if you will. But hip hop back in the day was something that a lot of the urban families used to learn particular knowledge. As far as things that we were not getting, they were not getting with the news channels and all that stuff. They learned a lot of, you need to go buy land. You need to learn business. You need to learn what EIN numbers are. You need to learn, they kind of put a lot of that stuff inside of the music as far as, and not just that, they put, stuff like raising kids, how, fathers need to be at home. So a lot of the way that they learned a lot of the skills and the knowledge that, they needed in order to enhance the culture, they learned that, and they got that from hip hop. So hip hop kind of came about with that. So it evolved into what we now consider as rap, where so my wife is like my PR. So she's got to make sure I say this right. But it evolved into rap, and it was more of the guys not technically given an enlightenment when it comes to the culture, but it was more so they're doing it now as they're how do you say,
enlightenment of themselves. It's more of an artist expressing their own personal thoughts, their own personal feelings, their own personal accomplishments.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not always geared toward educating the urban community. Is more so, this is me, this is what I've done, this is what I want to accomplish, which doesn't make it bad because it's not hip hop, it's just different. And that's what music is. Music is art, and it's the way to be able to express yourself as an artist, which goes to the question you asked about Beyonce. And what people are saying about Beyonce is that they said the same thing about what was the young guy, Lil Nas X, when he Old Town Road. They said the same thing about one of my favorite country artists. He sings Don't kill me, church. Body Like a Back Road.
Chris.
No.
Oh no, you're talking about Sam.
Not Sam Smith. Sam. No, it's not Sam. I can't even think the young man's name right here. His name is Sam. My daughter gonna be like, Mom, you should know this. She's gonna be looking. You should know this all the time. But there's several other country artists who, when they first started out, it was like, well, your music isn't country enough. And all genres have evolved so much over the years that none of it is true to what it was originally set out to be anyway. So I think in this day and age, it's easier to classify a song as a particular genre without having to hit all of the normal boxes that would be checked, because all genres have evolved over time. I hope I did good enough, Beehive. Don't come at me about being her music, okay?
To kind of piggyback off that too, Miss Jessica, another artist that started off in like the R&B, K. Michelle, coming from Memphis and actually being in that city and state where they're known for country music. So for her starting in the R&B and then trying to switch over to country where her heart and her passion is, they ate her up on that
I'm sure they did.
That album as well. It was
people don't take lightly to you transitioning to something that you didn't start with.
Absolutely.
It's like we don't give people grace to grow. And as an artist, if we look at Beyonce, whether you're a fan or not, you've seen her grow so much over the years. I mean, when she started producing maybe about 4 or 5 albums back, everybody's like, oh my God, it's too risque. But it's like now she's married with kids, so she's expressing herself now as a wife, and things that she share with her spouse. And every artist wants to express whatever stage of life they're in at that moment. And we just have to give them grace to be able to do so.
So in your industry, say again?
His name is Sam Hunt, the artist we're talking about.
Okay. In your industry, so in dealing with that, do you ever come across somebody who is crossing over into a different genre but doesn't fit that mold, doesn't fit that picture?
Definitely, it's crazy you say that, because one of my really good friends right now, he's amazing at what he does, and he's a Caucasian guy, white guy, and he's in the rap industry, and he raps. But I mean, I say raps. He's a hip hop artist, really, and he's amazing at what he does. And like you said, he's in the territory of, and I talk to him all the time. We have deep conversations about particular things that he's kind of went through on his voyage when it comes to, growing up in high school, being the guy that, you're white, but you're saying that you can rap, and you understand hip hop, the culture, all that stuff, and all of the woes that he had to go through with, having to come into the community and pretty much prove himself in every place. And he was in Atlanta, and he won a lot of awards and did all that. And he got into, jealousy, people talking about him, want to kick him out. Well, you're not a part of this. And, he get up and he does his thing, and they praise him and they loved him. But then when he was doing really good, and they started saying, well, all these guys that's on the stage, out of all these guys, that guy did better than all of y'all. So now you get jealousy, and it comes in a strong wave, because you're in our area. This is where we're supposed to make money. This is like one of the only things that we have in our community that can help us get out. We got football, we got basketball, and then we got music, we got hip hop. That's what we really love to do. So he's one of the guys that kind of really fought with that. And I know another guy who was Black, and he was over in the country music realm. And like my wife just said, even with Lil Nas X, some of the stuff that he had to deal with. So yeah, I have a lot of those people coming over that, they're shifting genres to where I do this, but I don't look like I'm supposed to do this.
Right.
But I've been blessed with this particular ability, and I'm going to do it. But there's
and they're good at it. They're really great at it. They just don't. At first glance, you just would not expect the voice that comes out of them to come out of them.
Absolutely. I actually know the one artist, Jelly Roll.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
surprised the life out of me.
I was going to say that
I
next.
definitely see him and I see, okay, what he's been through. He talked about how, you know, he had to start selling drugs and stuff and was out on the streets hustling to make things work. And then he realized that the street life wasn't it and started pouring himself into his music. And now he's dominating with all cultures and everything. When I heard it the first time, I was like, hold on, wait. Who is that? And I'm like, oh, so I was definitely I understand where you're coming from. It's a lot of hoops and barriers that you have to take and jump when it's not ideal or typical of what you look like to what you're actually passionate and loving in.
Yes.
Yep, exactly.
Right. You know, quick question. You know, and folks, those who are watching, please take time to share this because I'm telling you, the Carters got so much information here that, you know, they are here and we're here ready to take your questions because these two magical musical geniuses, you know, I think they can handle it. So you mentioned something about, you know, your friend, the Caucasian gentleman who was crossing over and everyone has that feeling like this is ours. This is our stuff. You know, you're taking away from us. Do you ever think that the other side may think the same way about us when we have the Beyoncés who are trying to do country and the Nas X, they're trying to cross over into that? Do you think they don't accept us just because they feel like this is ours, it belongs to us? You know, country's supposed to be for good, wholesome, white-blooded Americans. You know, do you think they feel that way?
You finna get me into some trouble. But no, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I do believe that they do. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or right. You know, I won't say that anything is wrong or right, but I think that God created all of us in his own unique way. You know, we can't bypass the fact that there's cultural differences, you know, because I spent a lot of time in Iraq and Iran and all these different places. And I noticed that even while I was over there, they have their own culture and their style of music, you know, but that doesn't mean that God hasn't blessed somebody else that can come in and hear that and grow up in that. And now, even though I don't look like you guys, that doesn't mean that I can't be a part of this, you know. But that, and at the same time, I think it's really a lot of times it's more. It feels like it's more of a pride thing, as in, how can you come into my realm not looking like me, but do better than me? And it's almost like sometimes when, like, it don't even
have to be better. It's just even be equal to me in talent.
Exactly. And I was going to say this too with the point. You know, I'm just trying to make sure I steer clear, be careful with how I say what I'm going to say. But like if somebody came over to where I am and God has blessed me with something, but I've taken it for granted, you know, to where I haven't really learned, I haven't grown, because I feel like I'm just good at what I do because this is who I am and I don't have to grow. I don't have to do anything new, you know, anything like that. And then somebody else comes in who wasn't blessed with this particular thing, and they surpass me because they've been really growing since this time to get where I am, but they don't stop and they keep going. But I feel like I've been blessed with this and I'm okay with it. I then get jealous of them, but I'm not mad at them. I'm really mad at myself for not cultivating what's been given to me from the beginning. And I think a lot of times that's kind of what happens with a lot of people. They get into, you know, you get blessed with something and you think that it's okay to just be where you are, and opposed to having to go and to learn, to educate yourself, to, you know, to do all these things that, because nobody gets anything and you get it all. You have to, because when I first started doing this, I was not where I am now. And had I not started teaching myself, learning, educating myself, which is my uncle, he beat that in my head. You always don't think that you're going to know everything. You have to keep educating yourself to where there's a point where you never get to a point where you feel like you've arrived. Or never get he used to tell me all the time, never get to a point where you feel like you learned everything, because there's always something new to learn. So you can't be jealous and mad at somebody else who comes into your area and they're doing better than you. One of the best things to do is to learn from them. Say, hey man, can you come teach me that? Because I don't know how to do that. Even though you may or may not be younger than me, you know, I don't think all coaches take that to heart. You know, they just think that I'm supposed to be this and we're supposed to be that. And even though that you've taken off past me, you know, you don't need to be this. And you know, a lot of times we get mad at people for being different and being, you know, if I don't understand you, I'm gonna be mad at you, you know.
But I think sometimes it's not necessarily being mad at people for being different. I think sometimes it's just that, like what you posed in the original question, it's that feeling of this is ours. And especially when it's been ours for so long, and then you get somebody that comes on the scene that looks nothing like us. I mean, because think about it, when we first got Darius Rucker came on the scene in country, the pushback that he received initially, like not even being able to perform at the Country Music Awards. I mean, this is a country artist who was dominating the charts, but we won't put him on one of the biggest country stages there is. And then eventually, you know, he got to the point to where you couldn't deny him, you couldn't deny his talent, because the entire world wants to see him. They're not looking at this guy, this color, this black guy, or anything like that. They're looking at this guy is a country singer through and through, and his music speaks to
it's who he is.
All people. It speaks to everybody, and that's the thing we got to learn about music is that music is. I think you mentioned it earlier that music is a I'm not sure the correct term you use, but music is like one of the greatest forms of communication across all ages, all races, all genders. It's the one thing that we can utilize where you can express yourself and you can see yourself in others, and to see that, man, I'm not the only one who has gone through that. And I think sometimes that becomes an issue when you see for so long you felt like this has always been us. We've gone through this, and then to see someone else express those same things, it's like now you have to kind of push back on, well, it hasn't always been us. We haven't always been the ones that haven't always had it, or we haven't been the ones who've gone through these things. And it's like, oh,
it opens your mind up.
Yeah, the world is not as separate as we've
been. It can open your mind up if you allow it to.
The world is not as separate as we've been taught that it is. We're all actually a lot alike, and music definitely shows us that if we would allow it to.
Right. Good point. We got a couple questions here for you. This one from Mr. Prescott. It says, do your recording studios have wood, stone, and foam walls? What size mixer board do you have, and what's the cost to make a recording session?
So the walls have wood in them, and that's a good question that he asked us. Stone, if you do well, this is wood, because I'll get deep into the weeds of that. Yeah, it's wood walls and the
foam sound panels.
Foam sound panels that I built myself. I learned all things acoustics, so I know exactly how to design the rooms and all that stuff. And I had a friend come over, we got that done. So it's foam panels that we hung, and they got to be 1/8 of an inch off the wall, so that sound. It's a lot. I can sit here and talk about it all night. But yeah, and what was the other thing? Was it the price? How much?
Yes. What is the cost?
Yeah, it's $75 an hour, and we do a 3-hour minimum. So $225 get you into the door. And for those guys that ask the question, is that an extra cost of mixing and mastering? I always tell people it's all enveloped inside of the cost. So if you come in and you record for 1.5 hours, as in tracking, you go and physically record your words and all that stuff, we can spend another 1.5 hours mixing and mastering, meaning that it's commercially ready when you leave. Or some people come over and they'll pay for a session and they'll just track songs. So they'll do like 4 or 5 songs where they literally record all of the vocals on all the songs. Then they do another session. They come in and they sit down and we mix and master all the songs that they came in and track. So it's according to how you want to do it, but it's all inside of the package, part of what you're getting.
All right. Got another question. Same gentleman says, do you go out into different arenas or do parks or amphitheaters?
I don't myself when it comes to, I do live sound, but I don't go out to particular amphitheaters and all that stuff to do the live sound. I have a lot of friends and that's what they do. That's what they love. I do have contracts where I have a contract that I go with a team and we go from the top of the bottom of Alabama to the top of Alabama. And we go into all of the schools, the high schools, the middle schools, and the elementary schools, and we teach a particular program, and I do the sound for that. And I have gotten out and I've done sound like at the camp and certain, well, not at the camp, I've done sound at Big Spring Park and a couple different places. And I was going to do the camp, Princess Theater. I was going to go do the camp and all that, but I decided not to because I got very busy, and not that I can't do it, but I don't do it, for that particular reason. But I got friends who do it. I got people, guys ask me, do you know anybody that can do sound for this program? Yes, I'll give you their phone number.
Yeah, we're more focused on in-studio recording and engineering.
Yeah.
Okay. So question for me, you guys, and we were in the pastoral rim, correct? For Miss Jessica, at least. Pastoral rim. Is that also for you, Mr. Carter, as well?
Yes.
So we're in the pastoral rim. We're recording studio. Is there, what's the word I'm looking for here? Is there a hard stop for you guys for someone who wants to record?
No. No, and I say no because God has blessed me with the ability to say yes and no to particular people if they're trying to come in, because I do consultations all the time, Right. And I tell people when they come over to the studio, if you curse, you do all that stuff, you can do it on the track. Like, it's not going to change who I am because my morals are strong. It's not going to start me. I'm not going to start cussing. I'm not going to start drinking. I'm not going to start smoking. I don't do that. But I don't allow smoking in my studio. I don't allow There's certain things when it comes to drinking. Like if you can hold your drink, I have friends that come in and they drink and they're cool. I've had one guy come over and he could not hold his drink. He was all over the place. He hadn't came back, you know. And if he does come back, I'll tell him, do not drink. You know, that's not allowed for you. I don't allow weapons. I had one guy come in. He brought his weapon in. And I told him, don't come back. You know. And like I said, God has blessed me with the ability to pick, choose, and refuse when it comes to clientele, you know. So that's my rules, and I'm strict to my rules when it comes to the atmosphere being clean. Because I have my family there, and they come in, my kids might run in, my wife might come in bringing something, you know. So I'm not going to have these guys that are smoking weed and, you know, profanity and all that stuff all over the place, you know.
But also too, babe, I think one of the things too is that we are who we are, and we are always who we are.
Yeah, exactly.
And people see that, and even when you're in the studio recording, we've watched over time how people have come in and they've been one way or one type of person, they've had one type of personality, and then after recording for so long, they've changed even their music. Sometimes I've noticed shifts in their music. I've noticed shifts in the songs that they write and how things have changed. And you know, we've even had times where artists have come in, and we've had an artist who paid for studio sessions and came in and was like, I know I paid for a session to record, but I just need to talk. You know, can you bring your wife out here? And I just need y'all to sit down and just counsel me. And it's just ministry. You know, we started that as a business, but when you're in ministry and ministry is a part of who you are, it doesn't matter what the setting is. When it's necessary, God is going to allow that to come out. So I feel that the studio is also a part of our ministry. And so not refusing people simply because we don't necessarily agree with the lifestyle choices of these things, it almost kind of become hypocritical if we're saying that we want God to extend us grace. So we do the same to them, but we do make it known that there's a line that we do not cross. And there are certain things that we will not allow. And we don't just say that with mouth service. After so long, you begin to say, okay, well, they say this, but I noticed that this is really who they are. So now they become more comfortable with asking certain questions that have absolutely nothing to do with music. So the ministry just flows into everything. Yeah.
Outstanding. So I know we talked a little bit backstage. You guys actually got some more things coming up, or actually things that are in play right now. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So we have Heart Matters with James and Jessica Carter, which is a series that we have that you can watch on Facebook. You can watch it on my page at Jessica Carter, or you can watch it on our Heart Matters with James and Jessica Carter Facebook page. We put out an episode every Monday. And it is basically we talk faith, family, business. We are married, we are in ministry together, as you mentioned, we are in business together. The bulk of our time is literally spent together. And so we use Heart Matters with James and Jessica Carter to allow other people to be able to kind of peek into our conversations, because sometimes we sit down and we talk for hours and we're just enlightened on things. And we're like, man, people need to know this, or we'll have conversations with couples and they're like, people really need to know this. And so God, led us to start that show. We did it a while back, and we're kind of on a revamp now. So this is the revamp of Heart Matters with James and Jessica Carter. And we literally just allow people insight into our day-to-day conversations. We share wisdom, we share knowledge, we share the understanding that we have. We tell people that we're not trying to convince you to become or to do anything else. We just want you all to see that this is how we do it. Because we get a lot of people that ask, how do you guys make it work? This is how we make it work. And we want to share that with you. And if it can help you and your marriage, then awesome. If you're just entertained by it, that's great too.
We love to have fun. And like my wife was saying, we've been counseling since forever, and we love to play spades. So if you play spades, show up. We love to play spades. But
pull up.
You hit the right spot.
Pull up.
Let me call my mister.
There you go.
Hey, there.
We going over there now. But we love to play spades, so we used to get together with these couples, and we learned as time progressed that we saved a lot of their marriages. A lot of, we didn't know what we were doing. We just playing cards. We was having fun. We always talk about certain things, and we were talking, just the conversation was getting casual, and they were asking questions, but we was playing spades, and that kind of that whole thing kind of bled over into what we have now as Heart Matters with James and Jessica, which hopefully we're going to do that soon, a live spades tournament, with couples.
Well, that's coming up in our summit. We have a summit that we have scheduled for the summer, the Generation Summit, and we will definitely give you guys more information with that as we continue to unveil it. But there is a spades tournament coming.
We're going to have fun.
We can't wait.
I'm definitely going to make sure I get my son and daughter-in-law signed up for that tournament. I think they can really benefit from you guys and y'all interaction and y'all energy. I think they can really pick up on that. You know,
And
so
bust them on the
we
space
don't have
table,
our
just throwing
producer.
it out there already. We talking
They love-
trash
they love
already.
to
He's talking trash
They love
already.
to
We haven't even started slapping.
What
hard.
Y'all are one right here at the table, and I'm
just
by
met
You
myself.
ain't got him with you.
So I'm speaking for him on our
better be
behalf.
watching.
You can't say nothing because her man is not
That's
here.
what I said.
So hold on. I'm just playing.
I love it. I love it. I love it, man. So, hey, you know, with Miss Jessica, we had you here a couple of weeks ago, and you talked about your business, and you showed how, you know, and you kept bringing up the studio, you kept bringing up James, I said, well, we need to get James here to talk about that.
Yeah.
So my question now is, you identified what you are in James's business. How does it reverse for James with your business?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He steps in as the camera guy. He steps in as the assistant. Thank God we've been able to hire people to fill a lot of those positions now, so he doesn't have to do as much. But yeah, he's always there behind the scenes. Most time people don't even know he's there because he's just so quiet. But he steps in a lot of times behind the scenes. He's taking pictures. He's shooting video. He's doing certain audio for me. I've had a show that I started with some ladies, and he recorded the music and the song, you know, the theme song for that. And he's a very great supporter. And he reminds me of all of the times that I talked about how unbalanced he was.
Yes.
He reminds me of that so that I can remain balanced.
No, let me say this too.
But he also steps in to teach sometimes too. A lot of people don't know that. Like he's also a full-time investor on the side, more like a part-time investor. And he's very well versed in the investment side of things. So he does step in and teach sometimes.
So when I was running my business, and I was, you know, I would have these intuitions, I know, to where I wanted to change my price. So I want to do this. I want to do this sale. I want to do that. She would come in from the other side. No, we're not doing that. We're not changing the price. We're not doing this. No, they're going to pay this. So then now, fast forward to her business. She comes in. I think God has told me that I need to shift this. I need to do the price. I need to do a sale. No, we're not doing.
So you're going to tell God what to do.
No, that's what you did earlier. I told her I was giving back to her what she was giving to me.
He's saying God gave him that insight to tell you we're not changing.
Exactly.
Oh,
You heard what
okay. Now we're not gonna jump on this Jessica like that.
Thank you.
We're not gonna
say that. Girl power.
Hey.
So that's a lot of what I was. I was showing her what she was doing for me, but no, I was just kidding.
It works though,
It
because
does work.
we both have such a heart for people that we will give people the world. And it's because a lot of people have done so much for us. And so we do have that feeling that we have to give back. But it took a lot for us to learn how to balance, you know, how to be a philanthropist, but also maintain integrity within our business by not giving away everything. Like you can't give away the whole business and expect to continue to run the business. That's just not how it works.
I love that. I love that. I tell y'all guys what, man, this has been awesome. I mean, the amount of information that I received with things y'all taught me, and just a little bit about music, no, I didn't know like this. And those who are viewers, I'm sure if you didn't know, share this information. Share this information with friends, family, get it out there and let them know. You know, Launcher Studios is here. You guys are doing awesome. I love the work. I love the teamwork of what y'all are doing. And one thing for sure, I'm definitely going to try to catch one of your shows. Let me put it in the chat for everybody. Tell me what it is again, Miss Jessica.
It's Heart Matters with James and Jessica Carter. And if you search Heart Matters with James and Jessica Carter on Facebook, it should pop up. So follow, comment on the videos.
Please go comment.
Like the videos.
And also,
and we may, if you comment on the videos, if you have questions, ask questions on the videos, we will answer those questions in some subsequent videos. We actually have a Q&A coming up on next Monday. So you never know. We may answer your question in that video.
Outstanding. I put that out there in the chat, told them to search for it on Facebook. I'm gonna do my little search on it so I can go ahead and watch a few of those. And as soon as y'all go live, I want to be in that stage because I'm gonna be asking some questions.
Exactly. Show up.
Come on.
Oh yeah, showing up. I'm definitely gonna show up. Hey guys, is there anything that y'all guys want to say before we go ahead and close out tonight? This has been awesome. I know we usually have a 30-minute segment, but when things are going good, I like to keep it running. Anything y'all guys want to add before we leave?
Well, let me say this real quick before we close it out. I have a lot of guys that come to the studio and they ask me a lot of questions when it comes to my role as me being passionate about music and my wife. And, you know, how do you find someone that's understands what you're doing and who you are? And to those musicians who are, really locked in with what they're doing, I'll say this, that God is going to send the right person. But you can't think, because a lot of those guys try to compare their lives to my life as if, but your wife, she knows everything. She sees it. She's letting you be in the studio all the time. I said, no, man, we haven't always been here. You got to grow to a particular point. So, and I've been teaching a lot of guys this that are in the musician world, that you can't be unbalanced and be in there all the time and expect for your significant other to just be okay with that. She knew that when we got together, that this is what I do. Mm-hmm. Exactly. You got to know how to share your time, to where if she wants to go to the movie, she wants to go out. If she just wants to sit in there and watch a television show that you probably don't like, you got to do that.
I feel like that was a shot, but I'm gonna let it go.
I'm just saying, no, you're not.
Let them keep talking, Miss Jessica, because I'm gonna clip this out and send this to my spouse. Go ahead, Mr.
Let him say all of this. No, but no, I did that, but I began to learn that I love what my wife does, but there would be times when I would be sending them like, I'll get this thing in my mind. I gotta go play this pattern. I gotta go do this. I gotta make this beat. And I would force myself, we can't do that now, because we've got to grow to I got to give this time now so that later she'll let me do what I want to do. That's why I'm just saying balance. I'm not saying that I didn't want to do it. At first I did it, but as time progressed, I find myself in there with my wife all day, and I haven't even touched the studio, mm-hmm. and then she started telling me, you need to go to the studio. I'm like, but I like being here. But I got that side unbalanced. And then now we're, not that we're perfect, but it's really a good.
We've got our flow.
We've got our flow. And I have people come over and ask me all the time, man, I really wish I had what you guys have. We've been married now for it's going to be 18 years.
18 years. Yeah, we've been together for over 20.
Yeah, exactly, over 20 years. But it took time to get to where I am now when it comes to having a good balance with my family and my business. Because if your family is not taken care of, if it's not right, your business is going to fail all day, because you need to have peace. When you go back to the house, if I've been out in my studio with clients, and my wife, she says it all the time, if I've been with my clients, I'm in CEO mode. So when I come into the house, she keeps my kids downstairs and let me go upstairs and take my clothes off and take a shower, just clean up and prepare myself for daddy mode. And then I come out and now I can be dad. But if I come in and they're jumping all over me, and
you said no, thank you, Valentine's Day. I love it.
We're pretty much have fun right now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fry, for having us tonight. This has been amazing. We've enjoyed talking to you. So thank you so much for having us, and we can't wait to come back.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I love it, and I'm definitely going to have y'all guys coming back, because y'all are so full of energy, and you get it going, and you make me feel good. Hey, I definitely appreciate that. Hey, for those who have been watching, please take time to share this broadcast. Send it out to friends and family, because the Carters are definitely here in town, and they are definitely someone who we all should be a part of and get to know them better. And if you play spades and you got that husband or that wife that plays spades, go ahead and make sure you get ready for that spade tournament that they're going to put together, that little counseling spade tournament, because that sounds like that's going to be a humdinger. All right. So as always, don't keep in mind, we still got space for our entrepreneur course. For those who didn't sign up, it's the Renew Ready program with Drake State Technical Community College. Reach out to them. There's a couple more slots open. Get in now. We only got one session in, and we're going to be doing this for the next 8 months. Please make sure you take care of that, okay? As always, remember, your yesterday is not your today, and your today is not your tomorrow. Good night.